Wait, I'm confused. What day of the week is it? What's going on here, Anthony?
It's not. It's 9 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to special edition of No Vacancy Live. You can't keep us down. We had trouble yesterday doing our show. Doggone it. But today we are here because we got a lot of things to say, don't we, Anthony?
Yes, we do. First of all, my dog is doing better. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. I did. I texted you that this morning and I didn't get a response. So you want to give us an update here?
My dog has a herniated disc, believe it or not.
Right.
And basically, when they get older, it happens. And so she has
I thought
to
it was
be
from all the warehouse work she was doing.
she has to be in a cage, basically.
Yeah.
But we figured out a way to keep her out of the cage, but kind of keep her caged in a small area. And she's on medicine, and she's doing well. She's 9 years old, and she's a small pup, and she's a Lhasa Poo. Yeah. And she's doing better. She was on my lap the whole drive to the vet yesterday, and she was shaking the entire time. But she's better.
Oh, poor little baby.
So as I said this morning, or in our intro, I said it's 9 o'clock somewhere. So do you want to take it from there?
Yeah, I do. We on Tuesday's show we talked a little bit about the about Jimmy Buffett and his passing and all that, and teased a little bit about what it meant to us. But I thought it'd be fun to get a little bit more into that and really talk about the legacy, not just of the music and the community and the culture, but the overall branding and Margarita's effect on hospitality as well.
Yes. And do we have any game show music?
Let me see. I think I do have.
You just muted yourself.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Also, stick around because we're going to be talking about how New York City has apparently banned AirBNB. That's going to be a huge story. Plus, we're going to talk a little bit about how travel agents are considering using AI in the future. Let's see if I got some music over here. That's decent. Oh. I got that.
No, that sucks.
That's what I was afraid of.
Okay, so we're going to do a game show.
I got this one.
No. Well, if you get it wrong, you can do that.
Wait, is it Friday night on it? Tune in today, 5:00 right here.
So, all right. So I'm going to ask you some questions. Hey, to be honest, I got it right off a wiki, so don't look at it. Don't go on Google. Okay. All right. What was his his type of music called?
They had a name for it.
Yes.
Southern Rockabilly Caribbean Happiness.
That's very close. Tropical rock.
Okay. I had no idea there was a category on that. As a big fan of channel 311 on Sirius XM, Yacht Rock Radio, I hear him a lot on there.
Okay, what rock radio? 311?
Yacht Rock, and the announcer is actually like, "Hey, everybody, it's Yacht Rock Radio."
Yeah, they played like 100 Yacht Rock songs the other day. They said, and I was like, I didn't know there was 100, but anyway.
Yeah, they're all on loop. Dream.
Okay, how many albums? Not including the one he dropped last night. They dropped last night. How many albums did he have?
This I don't know, so I'm gonna guess 14.
I was gonna say double the number.
28.
30.
Jeez. I had I remember back when I was in college, he came out with this awesome album. It was like 4 albums in one, kind of a unique spin on greatest hits collection, plus some new songs, I believe it was. And each one like had a different theme. I guess it was like beach and drinking and boating or whatever it was. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was quite prolific. And besides guitar, what other instrument did he play in high school?
In high school, no idea at all. Trombone. That's pretty cool.
What state did he grow up in?
Louisiana?
Mississippi.
Close.
What was his degree in?
It must be in business with how successful
I knew you were going to say business. No, history.
History.
What do you and Jimmy Buffett have in common?
Our inability to wear flip-flops without losing one of them in the sand.
Yes, and he was a journalist for a period of time.
Yes, and a really good author as well. Both both on the factual and the fictional kind of side.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a number of best-selling books.
What did he do on a yacht? He had a job when he was younger on a yacht. What was his job?
Wow, we're getting deep here. I feel embarrassed. I should know my Jimmy Buffett stuff like I know the fish stuff, you know? All right, so what did he do on a boat? I would guess he was like the yeoman, whoever's the lowest person on the
Mate.
boat.
He was a first mate.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Good.
Yeah, not a bad
And
accomplishment.
this is the last question, and
Thank God.
the question that probably think people ask the most.
Yeah.
Was he or was he not related to Warren Buffett?
I would say no.
They were friends. They called each other cousin Jimmy and Uncle Jimmy,
Right.
but they were not related. But they did work together, and he did invest in his company.
Oh, cool.
You know, and that's another thing I want to say.
Yeah.
Like, he's been able to do it himself for so long, and he's partnered with some amazing people that really helped him. You know, when people build a business like that, it really comes down to people approaching them and saying, "Hey, this is what we have," and then using your instincts to say, I'll do that, I won't do that, yes, do this. And he was amazing. His partnership, the people behind the scenes for him were insane. They built an incredible company with him. And, listen, he would, the hotels or the restaurants, they would open, he would show up, do a little concert for the investors, because I was actually one of the hotels.
Those were great events to see.
Right, and then he would fly out, and he just built a great business model, and he stayed true to that, to that lifestyle, to the point where, I believe he actually passed away of skin cancer.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. So
Merkel cell, something like that. Yeah, it really, really tragic in that sense. But listen. To live a life like that in the way that he lived it is, I think, is one of the great appeals, because so many people, we feel kind of caught up in our day-to-day grind and looking at him and thinking about the possibilities of what could be, because he really seemed, at least on the outside, to have it all figured out and have that perfect kind of life. He got to, hang out on boats and go all around, the Caribbean and the southern United States and all of that. Plus, he owned all these great businesses, and he got to wear shorts all the time. So
yeah, I was really surprised that he passed away. He had a home in Sag Harbor. I just thought he'd be in the Bahamas somewhere.
Oh, Sag Harbor, that's here on Long Island, if people don't know.
Yeah, that's where his house, I think, main residence was, which I was surprised by that.
Yeah.
But you know what? He did it, and he did it in a way like Jodie Foster, right? She can come out in a movie tomorrow, and she'll get paid $30 million, and it's a blockbuster, right? And she lives a very quiet life. So I love the fact that everybody knew him, everybody respected him. He performed and played and had all these businesses, but you didn't really know his life at all. Like, he wasn't around. Like, he wasn't in the papers. He wasn't, it was just amazing. It's kind of like your favorite band, Fish. It's like they're killing it. They're making all this money. People will literally, name their children after them.
Yep.
But they, nobody knows who they are. They can literally walk into a packed restaurant and maybe 5 people will know who they are.
Right. Yeah, which is pretty insane. All right, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the legacy of branding and how he really helped wake up a lot of folks in the hospitality industry to how amazing a job they did at branding. And while a lot of hotel companies do a pretty decent job at that here in the United States in particular, I think that they really excelled at understanding what their value proposition is, what the image that they connote to customers, and then activating that through a whole variety of things, from hotels to residences to cruises to restaurants and all of the retail opportunities.
Retirement community.
Yep.
And a barbecue sauce, flip flops, everything, and everything that his audience would buy. Like,
they sent me pool floats one year.
They sent you what?
The Margaritaville pool floats I had.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? And it's very. You just made me think of something. There's a TikTok with this little girl trying to eat a sandwich, and she had those, those floaties on,
Yeah.
and she couldn't eat. It's like somebody's like, best diet in the world. Just put floaties on. You can't feed yourself. But yeah, he was an absolute incredible businessman.
Yep.
Great music. But he stayed in his lane. That's what people have to understand. He stayed true to who he was. He didn't try to go open, something that wasn't on brand. So let's talk about that. To your point,
right?
On brand.
I think you said something really important that you're just about to get to: understanding who you are, right?
Right.
Like fundamentally.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things, my brand is about authenticity. And there'll be just recently, I was in a business discussion with somebody. And I was like, I'm not going to tell them this. And I was like, no, your brand is being authentic. Be nice, but just mention this. And I did. But I literally went back to, no, they want to know that. Why wouldn't you say that? Be authentic. And so that's the most important thing. If you look at all the successful companies out there, let's just take Apple, for instance, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you believe or don't believe and like the company, don't like the company, they give you simple products that work.
Right.
Amazon, believe, don't believe, simple product that works. I can pull over in my car, park the car, and within 3 seconds, have an order for. I played softball last night. Have a new baseball bat coming to me in 3 seconds.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yesterday morning, as a matter of fact, and this gets to removing friction from the process. We realized that we needed a new French press. I woke up yesterday, ordered it at 6. I had it by like 11 a.m. How insane is that?
Yeah. And you just when you're going to a concert, like you may go to one tonight, another friend of mine's going to another one. The one thing you're trying to do is remove as much friction as possible to somebody's, because if you put friction in, like you go to a Jimmy Buffett concert and there's a lot of friction to get in, or a lot of friction to buy stuff, or a lot of friction to just be there, you remember of your day-to-day life, right? You remember that the traffic, you remember the problems and challenges you have. But if you go to a concert and it's friction-free, you really feel like you're somewhere else. That's why people love movies. It's escapism. And a Jimmy Buffett concert, as well as I do, is the greatest escapism, like a Fish concert, the greatest escapism there is.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go see Sting tonight. I don't think it's going to be in the same level of escapism.
Yeah. But you know what? Another thing is really, really critically important.
Yeah.
Good people around you. Yep. Because the smarter people around you and the lawyers you have and the marketing people you have make you look. He looks like the smartest businessman that ever lived.
Right.
And based on his success, he is one of the smartest businessmen that ever lived.
Right.
But we have to give credit to the team around him, whether it be his lawyers or whether it be the people at Margaritaville, that they took his creative brain, they helped him with it, and they launched it. And you can't have it all, as you said, without insane people working really hard.
And those insane people that are working really hard, Anthony, have done a great job at, again, understanding the brand and keeping it with a strict focus. A lot of other brands that are introduced in hospitality kind of shift and move over time, either up or down the chain scale, or they start to add a lot of elements that over time, it becomes something that's completely different than what it originally started.
And there's also a confidentiality and a vision that people are like, okay, this is what he wants. This is how we're going to do it. We're not going to talk about it. I was at, I'll just say this. I was at a meeting with somebody that knew him obviously very well and was in the company. And it was when it was in the press that he was sick, and that person didn't talk about it. I said, how's he doing? He's doing fine. Like you can, and that person is very social and very, very talkative and very open. And it was like, that's a line like we don't talk about. That's Jimmy's life, and I don't talk about it.
And how amazing is that to be able to create that separation as well?
Yeah, and it comes down to trust, right? It comes down to the people that surround you. So we can talk about his branding. We can talk about how just talented he was. So let's talk about that. Incredibly talented, obviously very highly motivated, but people don't talk enough about the key positions that you put people in to help you with your vision. Right. Period. That is a hard stop. You cannot, like I think Quentin Tarantino said it. He goes, I know nothing about lighting. He goes, I know nothing about cameras, I don't know anything about dressing your set. He goes, I have a vision, and I
Mhm.
hire people that want to understand and cooperate
Right.
with me for my vision. That is the same thing in any business or anything you do, and people
Mhm.
forget that. It's like, oh, I'm not doing that. Well, do you have the right people in place, or are you too nice of a person to not? So there's the business sense, but it's putting the people in the right places. So I don't think we talk enough about
We
that.
don't.
That he's a businessman, not because he's successful. He's a businessman because he picked the right people to be successful with
Right.
him.
Yeah.
With him.
Right. Yeah. I think that's an absolutely a great point to put on all of this. Anything else that you want to add about this segment?
No, it's just I'm really glad, like we said in the green room. I'm really glad. I thought he would be underneath the headline. He was the headline for days. And that really, really made me
Yep.
amazing because, like you said, you didn't think he was so globally loved.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we loved him here, but to see the outpouring of love from all the corners of the globe is pretty
Listen,
amazing.
he made people happy, man. If you put on his matter of fact, we put on a Jimmy Buffett song this morning
Mhm.
as I drove my wife to work, and like the mood just changed. Like it was just like you were lighter.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Between him and Bob Marley, it's like those are my two like island spirit guides for sure.
Yeah,
You
it's
know?
if you cannot if you can listen to his music and not be happy, you probably need some serious therapy.
Right. So, Anthony, to switch topics sloppily for a second. One of the major issues that we've been facing in the hospitality industry for years and years and years is the notion of Airbnb encroaching on the hotel's business itself. Now, it's happening, and it has been happening around the world and in our country in particular in a very meaningful way. And the hotel industry has been like, we appreciate competition, but it all has to be on an equal footing. And the hotel industry has put out for years that they don't need to worry about fire safety protocols, 911 protocols, all of these other things that hoteliers have to do. So the hotel industry has been at a disadvantage. And this is an issue, that's been going around for lots of different jurisdictions. Well, New York City is finally enforcing strict new rules on when New Yorkers can actually rent out homes using platforms like Airbnb and Vrbo. This took me by surprise because I kind of figured it was like a dead issue after all of these years. You want me to just get into it a little bit more?
When you said a dead issue, you thought that they would just
right. I just thought that it was over. This was the way it was going to be.
Who runs New York City?
Mary Eric Adams, you talking about?
No. Who runs New York City?
Big business, right?
Real estate.
Yep.
More specific, the real estate families run New York City. Hard stop. If you don't believe that, then you're out of your mind.
Right.
They own the city.
Yep.
For good or bad. Okay. So do you
Mm-hmm.
really think that the real estate companies in this city is going to let that pass? No effing way.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, the angle that they're coming from is not necessarily the angle we think. At least this is what New York City is saying. The city is arguing that the proliferation of short-term rentals, according to the New York Times, through Airbnb, is pushing up rents and helping fuel New York City's housing shortage. Now, this is a problem that's happened in so many places like Venice, places like Amsterdam, where the whole downtown core that made the city is just rented out, and it completely changes everything while pushing up those rents. Additionally, the new regulations say that you cannot rent out homes to guests for less than 30 days unless the host is present during the entire stay. Plus, no more than 2 guests at the same time. They must have ready access to the entire home. And that's been interpreted to I can't lock my bedroom door if I have somebody down the hall that I don't know.
Listen, there are so many things, and I understand people that own an apartment and own a house and want to make extra income.
Yep.
But you cannot, when you're paying, $4,000 a month to live in a shoebox, and you walk up 5 flights, you don't want somebody with 3, big pieces of luggage,
right,
traipsing up those stairs maybe they're on vacation, so their level of noise is different than the level of noise you're used to.
Yep.
Listen, the city is the most wonderful city in the world, but it's like it's not livable all the time. And so to incorporate another nuisance into someone's quiet place is,
Right.
to me, like I can't imagine somebody coming on my block, which is Knockwood, a quiet block, and
Right.
all of a sudden my next door neighbor's playing music at 12 o'clock.
You got that right. And Anthony, you tapped right into this next graph in the report from the New York Times. The city official said there were almost 10,800 listings as of March 2023. Going down, residents who live in buildings with short-term rentals complain transient guests are bringing greater risk of crime, excessive noise, and cleanliness problems. That hits right to what you're saying.
Yeah, listen, we know in the hotel business, housekeepers, they walk into a room and it's like, forget about people being messy. Some people are messy, some people aren't. But do you have any manners? Like the way they leave these rooms, just completely disgusting. And because people are on vacation, they have a right to like do whatever they want, apparently.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that being in a building. I used to live in a building as a kid, and I just can't imagine. And plus, it just takes away. Forget about like, of course, you're worried about the crime and the noise and dirt and things like that. But it just messes with your mojo.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden, like you're in an elevator with all these people that don't know anything about your environment, and they're just not. And your job is not to tell them what the best restaurant in the neighborhood is.
No, and the great thing about living in an apartment building in New York City is you have all these people, familiar faces that you don't have to actually talk to, and you're okay because you all live there.
And also, you watch out for each other.
Right.
So if you don't recognize somebody, you're like, hey, that person doesn't seem to belong here. Like, why is this? Did they move in someplace? But if you have all these people coming in, like using his hotel, you don't know who's who and who's supposed to be there. So it's, I think it's a good law for New York City.
Yep.
There's another way to make money. And you know what? Sell your place because you'll make a fortune.
For sure. All right. So a little bit more detail on this. So what's going to happen now? Airbnb units that are not classified as hotels and have not been registered with the city will no longer be available. Airbnb is saying some listings are can be converted to long-term rentals, and others are going to be deactivated. So
yeah, but there'll be a workaround with long-term rental somehow.
Airbnb estimated last month there were 15,000 hosts that have active listings for short-term rentals across the city. The city has received about 3,250 registration applications, with 257 approved as of now.
Now approved for long-term rentals. Is that what you're saying?
For the post 30-day.
So you need a certification,
right?
Like you need a license. So in the hotel business in New York City, you can't stay for more than 30 days. You have to check in and check out. So say you want to stay 31 days. On the 30th day, you need to pay your bill, check out, and then check back in. It's interesting.
That has to do with rules, because if they stay longer than that, then they could be a squatter kind of a thing and never have to leave.
I think that, and also there's some tax implications.
Right. Dr. Producer Suzanne says something about tenant law. So yeah, maybe that.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very, very interesting.
I'll be curious to see, Anthony, and I'm curious as to what you all think out there. I know we got a good group watching, but everyone's being very quiet today. Do you think this is now going to spread to other cities? Do you think other jurisdictions are going to be emboldened by New York City's move to go ahead? Because as we know, as things go in New York, as things go in California, a lot of times so does the rest of the
but you know what? The great thing about having 50 states is you have 50 different countries, right?
Yep.
And you go to Tennessee, which is what? Like right there for New Yorkers. Tennessee's right there. And it's a different country. So each state is going to pass legislation based on what their little country thinks. And if it's a rural, if it's a little town, and they need the income, then that's a good law. And if they want the tourism for their little jewelry shops downtown, it's a good law to pass to allow it to happen.
Yep.
Before Airbnb kind of focused it and put technology behind it, you always went to Long Beach and rented a place.
Yeah.
You know, and there was no rules, and you just rent. Somebody had their house, and you rented a place.
Yep.
And you know, it was called a bed and breakfast.
Yeah, and it was also really hard to find a lot of those places too.
Right. And there wasn't very many of them. And you know, but at least with the bed and breakfast, let's make a distinction here. The bed and breakfast, people maybe were retired or people were a young couple, and they wanted to
like Bob Newhart.
They wanted to run a business,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now Airbnb, it's different because again, nothing bad about Airbnb, but now it's people wanting to make extra income.
Yep.
That they don't want to put a lot of effort into it for not all of them, but and I don't even know if it's the majority of them, but they want extra income. And that's like sleep over there. There's the staircase. There's the bathroom. Have a nice day.
Yep.
And also, Airbnb, I mean, they're feeding you to death. So it's kind of like going on what's that airline that you get it? You don't even get a seat. You go on Spirit. It's like you buy the ticket. And, you know, that's all you're buying. You're buying a piece of paper. Then you have to buy the seat. Then you have to buy the seat belt. Yeah. Then you have to spend $25 to use the bathroom.
Yeah, I just saw a report.
Airbnb is the same way.
There's this low-cost carrier, Norse Airlines, that charges you for literally everything. $25 to print the boarding pass at the counter. That kind of a thing.
Yeah, and at that point, like, what's the advantage of that?
Yeah, there is none. And I think the general public is starting to feel that way. Almost 2 or 3 times a week, I'm seeing headlines that come up talking about how people are getting pissed off by these ridiculous fees and how they have to do all of this work. And there's a chore list for them.
Well, what did you say in the beginning of this? Frictionless, right?
Yep.
It's even if you're looking for a discounted airline, right? You want to be frictionless. So, okay, you're going to get maybe longer lines. You're maybe not going to get the seat you want, but every single time you want something, you have to pay for it. And that, like, just make it just like make it the number you can afford to make it. And I think you'll do just as well if it's $25 more, because you know the separation between a Spirit and a Delta is not $25; it's $200-$300.
Yeah. But by the time you pay for everything you get with Delta on Spirit, it winds up being the same.
And I will tell you this: even people looking for a bargain of bargains, right? Yeah. Even they're like, I'm out. Like everybody I know that's ever flown a really discounted airline. I don't want to beat up that airline, but a really discounted airline, they don't return. They're like, I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so Dr. Producer Suzanne has some information for us on the 30-day stay in New York City. 30 days and beyond, you don't have to pay taxes for occupancy. So for a long-term stay, it's a benefit. And beyond 30 days, you can't kick the guests out. You have to go to court and do the eviction process. Suzanne says she's lived it. It sucks. Yeah.
My cousin, or my wife's cousin, is going through it right now. Her aunt, actually. And they have a person that basically is not paying rent. Mm-hmm. It was what's that? There's a program where the city pays your rent. Can't remember the name of it. Maybe somebody will put it in comments. And they were part of this program. And there's cockroaches, and they have the cleanest house in Bensonhurst. Mm-hmm. And there's cockroaches and everything. And forget about that. This woman's almost 80 years old, and she's dealing with the stress of this woman, you know, not paying rent, and she doesn't need the rent.
Right.
They thought it'd be a good program for the life, but like as soon as that woman leaves, I guarantee they're never going to rent that apartment again.
Yeah. It happens. Makes sense.
Listen, you got to protect the renters, but you also got to protect the landlords. And when you rental assistance program,
New York Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what it's called, but you can't keep screwing the people that are giving you jobs and giving you real estate and giving you places to work. The more you screw them, the more they go somewhere else. Yep. How many people do you know in the last, say, 3 months, Glenn, said to you, I'm seriously considering leaving the country and going somewhere else to live?
Yeah, I've heard it numerous times. If not the country, then the state, or at least fantasizing about, going to Tennessee.
I've heard the fantasy of it my whole life. Almost nobody I know does it. Everybody I know is doing it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
maybe they like that vacation to Greece this summer so much.
Yeah, I have a good friend that you know, and he's seriously considering moving to Italy most of the year. He's a citizen. He just became a citizen there, and he's like, "I'm going to Italy."
Yeah, and you
he's
could go get like a really cool ancient home for like $12 in some of these little towns that everybody's fleeing.
But everybody that's running away from America, I want them to remember this. If you go into Italy, Italy had 7 different governments last week. Okay, so you're just running away from one problem to get another problem.
There's a reason why all our ancestors came here, right?
I want to go to Sweden. Fantastic. Sweden's tax rate's 55%.
Right. My grandmother didn't walk across Europe at like age 9 because she loved her hometown. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Listen. I'm not saying I wouldn't move to Portugal or Italy or whatever, but you got to go with your eyes open. It's like people go on vacation, I'm going on vacation, I'm resetting, I come back and I'm going to be going to the gym, I'm going to be disciplined, I'm going to start that business. And you're on the plane ride and you got all that stuff written down, and then Monday comes.
Yeah.
You can't run away. You can't run away from yourself.
No, you can't. I'm going to be one of those people that wind up living on a cruise ship because it's cheaper than paying rent. That's what I want to do.
Did you see that 3-year cruise that's going on?
Yeah. It goes all around the
like
world.
$30,000 a year. Dude, sign me up.
I know. That's like what? That's like
how do you?
That's less than a semester of one of my kids' colleges.
Dude, $30,000 a year to live on a ship with food included? Like you can't live in this small town in America for that.
So in 1997, I was paying $1,400, $1,500 a month for a studio apartment in New York. Can you imagine? Less than twice that, and you get all your meals included from prices 30 years ago.
I had 3 roommates in Tower Gardens. Right before I got married, and I paid $1,400 for a room. So if there was 3 of us, I was paying $1,400, and I was paying the least because I had the smallest room.
Yeah.
So back then in Tower Gardens, for a regular apartment that wasn't beautiful or anything, you're paying what, $4,000 or $5,000 back then.
Yeah.
I was in Boston. I was on this big sailboat for a 2-hour cruise, and I'm talking to young ladies pouring the drinks and bringing the sail, and she's doing everything. And I go, so you do like 14 cruises a week, and you live on the boat, on the ship? And she goes, and it's not like a ship like you see on, Rich and Famous or Below Deck.
Yeah.
It's like an old sailboat. And she goes, where else can you live in Boston for free?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of people that live down over on the water, right?
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah. I know somebody who actually did like a Airbnb rental on one of those. Boats on the
Listen,
harbor.
I think Airbnb is great, and I've never been in Airbnb. I probably never will unless I'm renting a home. I'm renting a home, like I'm going on vacation. It's on the beach,
right?
But I'm renting like if it's an anniversary or a birthday, and I'm renting a beautiful apartment in the city. It's just not what I want. But listen. We survived. The hotel business survived Airbnb.
Yep.
The movie theaters survived streaming.
Yep.
If you have a good business plan and you work your business plan, it's going to work. And I always say, don't worry about, like, hotels get obsessed with Airbnb. And I'm like, so you're not obsessed with the 5,000 room Marriott that just opened across the street, but John and Joe just is renting out his bedroom apartment, and you're worried about them stealing market share.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying like in New York it's a great rule, but like focus on your business.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. And who else is focusing on their business? Travel advisors these days are really focused on trying to create the best experience for guests.
Travel agents or travel advisors?
Travel advisors, right? Okay. This is my segue into our final topic today. Okay. So Kenneth Shapiro, editor-in-chief of Travel Age West, they did a survey of 250 travel advisors focused on AI. And at this point, the vast majority of travel advisors are saying they don't use AI. They're not planning to in the future. In fact, it's 84% are saying about that. And I'm thinking that this is a number that's going to radically change over time. Right now, everybody's a little fearful, confused, not knowing what's going on. So it's easy just to say no. How do you see it?
Oh, my God. Anybody that says I'm not going to use it in the near future is smoking crack.
Right.
and they're not paying attention. Are you out of your mind?
Right.
Like, why? Like, everybody's like, well, it's cheating. How in God's name is it cheating? You use Google, you use a dictionary, you use Wiki, you use like, how in God's name is it cheating? It's only cheating if you basically take it and copy. It's like copying your
It's
neighbor's
only
paper.
cheating if you don't tell Google about it beforehand.
No, it's only cheating. Google Bard is better than ChatGPT, by the way.
Yeah. Is it?
Google Bard, BARD. It's
Mhm.
yeah, I used it yesterday for something, and I was like, not only did it tell me this paragraph made sense, 'cause I wrote the paragraph and then said, does this make sense? And said, it makes sense. It's perfect. There's no grammatical errors.
Right.
Everything's right. And then gave me 5 bullet points of why it worked. And I was like, oh, that builds my confidence.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And so, like, if you're not using it, it's like saying I won't use Uber, or I don't use Airbnb because I don't want to. Not because, oh my God, it's it's terrible. It's I use Uber. I like to use a cab, but they make cab there's a lot of friction in using a cab in New York.
You
In
know what?
Vegas,
Yeah, I've been using a lot more cabs than Ubers and Lyfts lately.
I only in Vegas do I use cabs, because
It's
in
so
New York,
convenient.
it's like you get hit by a car just
Oh, yeah.
trying to grab a cab.
Oh, yeah,
Or worse, you get hit by a bike.
Yeah. In the last couple of trips I've been doing, grab the cab leaving the airport, schedule the Lyft or Uber going to the airport ahead of time.
Yeah, because it's a lot easier to get a cab at the airport. You're man, they don't give these jobs to just anyone. So listen, it's like people that saying I'm not going to use an iPhone,
Yep.
right? It's or I don't like video games. You go on a plane in business class and you see 50-year-old people playing video games. Not doing business, playing video games. So eventually,
Well, you got to crush that candy, and
but AI is going to come to us a lot faster. I was asking someone in the public relations business, "Do you use AI?" And they almost were like, "Yeah, we're trying to use it a little bit, but I don't talk about it."
Yep.
It's like, let's just like say, "Hey guys, everybody use AI," and as long as you're reading what and putting it together, so you still got to put it together, because there's a lot of it's still not right. I mean, I've used it. And I'm like, none of this is right. Like you just do a chat GPT on me, 30% of it is wrong. Okay. I'm not married to a woman named Christine that went to St. John's, and it's wrong. And and I didn't go to Harvard, believe it or not. I know you hear me
What?
speaking, you're like, no, I'm just kidding. But it just gets me so crazy. And I'll tell you why it gets me so crazy, Glenn.
Yeah. Tell me why.
It's why do people hold themselves back?
Because of fear and insecurity, I guess.
You're not using AI now. Is detrimental to you. With that said,
Yeah.
is AI potentially dangerous? Absolutely. Is AI potentially going to take over the world and it's going to be detrimental to all of us?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they already did. Did you see that? Did you see that documentary? They called it Terminator.
No, what is it called?
Terminator? Yeah.
No, it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Are you?
Terminator.
I got it.
Skynet.
I got it. But sometimes it takes a second to land. I went. but
you're really on a roll. So you were,
Yeah, well, I love these where you and I just go. It's what I think we should be doing most of the time. I love these.
Yeah,
we have a lot to say. And you're a great interviewer, and you're a great co-host.
You're a wonderful co-host.
Which it's just frustrating. Like, I don't know all the intricacies of the potential hazards to AI, and I couldn't tell you what they are. But I would imagine it's dangerous.
Yeah.
What I would imagine is eating a yodel for breakfast, lunch, and dinner is very dangerous. Driving a car without a seatbelt, going the wrong way is dangerous. Waving a gun that's loaded in somebody's face is dangerous. It's the way you use it. And there are people like in these major companies that want to make a lot of money, and they may take a loaded weapon, which is AI, and focus it on people in the wrong way.
Yes,
I'm talking about a small business. You can't find good people. Use AI to
Right.
help you because people don't want some of those jobs anyway. Use AI. In the hotel business, I think we can use AI and still employ people that want to be in our business.
Yep, I agree. Absolutely. So, Anthony, I feel like our time is done.
Do you use AI?
Today. No, I haven't really gotten into doing that.
Can you
yet.
please use it, please?
Yeah, I could try.
You would be a lot more efficient. But use Google Bard.
Yeah, I brought
for
it up
two
here on the
reasons.
screen so I wouldn't forget about it.
Yeah, for two reasons. One, I can't retire if Google tanks. Because
Yeah.
I have stock on Google.
Well, I'll do
And
my part.
No, but I use Bard and I use ChatGPT. And
Mhm.
actually I use them sometimes interchangeably. I don't really use it that often. If I use it twice a week, it's a lot. But I'll do it in ChatGPT and go,
Right.
okay, that looks okay. And then I'll use it in Bard and I go, oh, that's even better, or vice versa.
What?
But I spend just as much time getting the information out. I
Right.
just want it to be really, really good.
Yeah, and Anthony's kind of cheating a little bit because every word he said was done by ChatGPT before we went on air, and he's just been reading it off a script this entire time.
Hey, listen, I am there are people that, like, right now I could be, I can be artificial intelligence. You wouldn't know it. I'm not really Anthony. Anthony's somewhere in Margaritaville.
Right. Totally. Wouldn't that be nice? We should get on one of those Margaritaville cruises for sure. I got to do a speech on Tuesday. I think I will test it out to help refine some of my ideas.
What's your speech? You're doing a lot of speeching. I'm getting a little jealous there, buddy.
Industry trends and stuff like that for operations and labor and things of that nature.
Oh, okay. So what's the biggest trend?
There's nobody's around anymore to work, and we got to figure out how to do more with less, and the tools that are going to be taking over. Really a reflection of kind of things we've been talking about here just now.
I love everything you just said. I want you to do me a favor.
Yeah.
Right now in Bard.
Yeah.
You have it open?
Yeah, I do.
I'll open. Put in.
Oh, wait, it says Bard is not supported for this account. I got to.
Okay, so let me do it. I'll do it. So I'm going to go into I know we both got to go, but just entertain me for a second. Yeah. And you just said a phrase that is used a lot: "Do less with more." So I'm going to say, as an example,
do more with less. I think you mean.
Give me a better phrase or a different phrase. Let's see what it says. Do more with less. Okay. So give me a different phrase than, okay. Be more efficient, get more bang for your buck, stretch your resources, work smarter, not harder.
Honestly, these are all cliched.
Max, hold on. I'm there with you. Yeah. And then sometimes you get these: maximize your output, make the most of what you have, be resourceful, be creative, find innovative solutions, think outside the box, reinvent yourself. Okay, so Bard failed us there. Yeah. Which does a lot. Like that, nothing in there is creative or anything I would use. But the one thing, find innovative solutions.
Right.
Is a better maybe way of saying do less with more, right? Because everybody's been doing less with more for 100 years. So that's how I use it. Like I'll come up with a phrase and I'm like, oh, I can say that better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, because it helps. Yeah. I think what you're saying, and you've said this in the past, is that it kind of helps clarify stuff and put things into a way for you to then be able to work on it on your own with some sort of direction. And it looks like we lost Anthony there, which is a shame. Where is it? Let me see if I pull him out and pull him back in. Yeah, he's gone. We'll see what happens. I guess it's probably a good chance to let you know that tonight at 5 p.m. right back here, I'll be on the air with another episode of Friday Night Audit. We got no guests tonight, just a whole bunch of silliness with the usual guest characters. Maybe some folks will tune in that we don't normally see, and they'll join us. Who knows? It's 5 p.m. today right here. Also, next week, I'll be in Dallas speaking at the Unifocus Customer Conference. Sorry, I'm looking at my calendar up there. Week after that, live at the lodging conference. Be doing lots of great interviews over there all week long. Followed by that, I'll be hosting the Reigns Company annual event. And the week after that, I'll be hanging out with the good folks over at G6 for their annual conference. Dr. Producer Sam says he's being converted for AI. That might be true. And the one other thing that's true is I look forward to seeing you guys back here next week. And while you're holding on for us, why not download our shows on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, wherever you get your shows. We are there. He's at Anthony Hotels. I'm Traveling Glenn. And remember, you've got one life, so blaze on. And as Anthony says, be kind to yourself. See y'all next week.